What is an American by Harold LeClaire Ikes. Harold LeClaire Ikes was born on March 15, 1874, near Luna, Pennsylvania. He then moved to Chicago at the age of 16 upon his mother's death. When he finally got into active and reform politics, March 4, 1933, he becomes the 32nd United States Secretary of the Interior and works for Franklin D. Roosevelt and Harry S. Truman after the death of Franklin D. Roosevelt. Now to talk about Ike's family. He first married divorcee Anna Wilmarth Thompson in 1911. He had one son, Raymond, with Anna, and a stepson, Wilmarth. He also adopted two children while married to her, Robert and Frances. She died in an automobile accident on August 31st, 1935. On May 24th, 1938, Ikes was 64 years of age, and he married Jane Dolman, who lived from 1913 to 1972. She was 25 at the time. He had two children with his second wife, Harold McEwen Ikes and Elizabeth Jane. Impact of the speech. The impact of this speech on today's America is that without it, the U.S. may not have joined the war to help to help fight with Europe against the Axis power because they did not want to get involved in this world war. The speech is spoken by Ikes to be an inspiration to men joining to help fight in the army by saying what a true American is. What is an American could have been a game changer in a way for this war, because if this speech was not given, the U.S. might not have joined the war soon enough, and Europe would have been fully taken over. Then the Americans would have had a tougher job on their hands. I mean, it would have been pretty much U.S. against half the world, at least, being against Nazis if they would have taken over pretty much all of Europe. Hey, it's me again. Excited to see me? Probably not. Anyway, to the point. Inspiring quotes. What? These are actually two quotes that I thought were very inspiring, especially if you're Ikes, using them to inspire the entire America. Well, United States of America, anyway. This one quote. What constitutes an American? Not color, nor race, nor religion, not the pedigree of his family, nor the place of his birth, not the coincidence of his citizenship, not his social status, nor his bank account, nor his trade, nor his profession. An American is one who loves justice and believes in the dignity of man. An American is one who will fight for his freedom and that of his neighbor. An American is one who will sacrifice property, ease, and security in order that he and his children may retain the rights of free men. An American is one in whose heart is engraved the immortal second sentence of the Declaration of Independence. Americans have always known how to fight for their rights and their way of life. Americans are not afraid to fight. They fight joyously in a just cause. We Americans know that freedom, like peace, is indivisible. We cannot retain our liberty if 3/4 of the world is enslaved. Brutality, injustice, and slavery, if practiced as dictators would have them, universally and systematically in the long run, would destroy us as surely as a fire raging in our nearby neighbor's house would burn ours if we didn't help to put out his. If we are to retain our own freedom, we must do everything within our power to aid Britain. We must also do everything to restore to the conquered peoples their freedom. This means the Germans too. I find this quote so inspiring for the way, the wording. He just is, I can kind of see him. I couldn't find any videos of this actual speech, but I can kind of just see how Ikes is portraying this to me, to the people. He's probably it's just American is one who loves justice and believes in the dignity of man, bringing out points from the Declaration of Independence of what our forefathers set up for America to be. So if that is what America is supposed to be, then this is what an American is. It's being you just it says right in the quote, and it's just so inspiring. If I heard this and I'm like, should we go to war or not? Oh, freaking A, man, slaves? We don't want to be enslaved. And it's it's pretty much you rub their, what's the quote? You rub their back, or I tap your back. Or, anyway, whatever that quote is. whatever that quote is, it's pretty much the same thing as saying that if we are to retain our own freedom right here, we must do everything within our power to aid Britain. Going back to the place that if in the long run will destroy us, for surely as a fire raging in our nearby neighbor's house would burn ours if we didn't help to put out his. So we don't want that. Again, we didn't. He was trying to inspire them to convince us to go to fight for this war because we didn't want pretty much Nazis taking over Europe and then finally getting the urge to come take over America. So we wanted to put a stop to it then. Another inspiring quote was at the very end, which is actually Hitler says this, and it's the British nation can be counted upon to carry through to victory any struggle that it once enters upon, no matter how long such a struggle may last or however great the sacrifices that may be necessary or whatever the means that have to be employed. And all this even though the actual military equipment at hand may be utterly inadequate when compared with that of other nations. Hitler is saying this, and he's saying that the British nation isn't going to give up without a fight, and they are said to be, at least to be one of the top militaries in the world. And Alex is using this as an inspiration that we can go fight with them. We can take on big allies. We've seen it in our past, in the Revolution, in other wars against Britain, when they tried to take over places back in the U.S. We can hold our own, but if we join and aid with Britain, which has probably still one of the top militaries, we put ours together, there would be like no problem. We could pretty much kick some freaking butt against these Nazis.
A certain German chancellor has lost his head. He's going to get a headache somewhere else instead, and he will be retiring very soon to join a certain Kaiser down in Doon. Adolf, you've bitten off much more than you can chew. Come on, hold your hand out. We're all fed up with you. God blimey. Adolf, you toddle off, and all your Nazis too. Or you may get something to remind you of the old red